following is a paid program. Talk 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IBX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genoa Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Hello and welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, your host for the next 30 minutes. Glad you joined me, and I hope you'll be glad when it's all over. I will tell you one thing. Don't pick up the phone and call me tonight like you normally do. We are recording this program earlier in the afternoon. We're actually at about 2:10 in the afternoon. So markets are still open. That's the good thing. I actually can report something live if it comes up. But we're having to pre-tape it because I have a conflict this evening. You heard a replay last week of the previous week's program, which was an excellent program, but I didn't want you to have to hear a replay again, and so I am pre-taping the program for tonight. You just can't call in with a question, but I do have some good information to impart before we're all said and done. And just, I'm sure you're just curious about my plans, but tonight we have a 50th football team reunion. I was actually on the first Rose High School state championship football team back in 1975. Now, for some of you, that'll be ancient history. For me, it was like yesterday. But we did. We won 4 away games. First time that had ever happened in the state championship. I assure you I had little to do with it. I was not a very good high school football player. I went out for football first in the 10th grade. Don't know why I did, but I did, and I stuck with it for 3 years. So when I was a senior, we won the state championship. We had some excellent football players on that team. Doug Pascal was our running back, and he's the one actually that headed up this 50th reunion. I guess he's a glutton for punishment. But he, as you probably know, if you're about my age, he was a star running back at UNC and was drafted and was on the Minnesota Vikings for 3 years. So he was the best player on the team, obviously. Then we had 3 players that played football at East Carolina. We had Joe Gaudette, Mike Brewington, and Henry Trevathan was a backup quarterback at ECU, and his dad was coaching at ECU at the time. And I believe he still coaches in Raleigh, if I'm not mistaken. We had a couple of the guys that played Division I AA or Division III, something like that. But we had some really good football players on that team. I was not one of them. Matter of fact, I don't even know why they kept me on the team, to be honest with you. But by my senior year, I actually did get to play. Someone was injured part of the way through the season, and they put me in the kickoff receiving team. That's probably where I could do the least amount of damage. I was an offensive guard at 6'2" and 165 pounds. So I wasn't very large. I could run, but wasn't very large. But anyway, that's what I'm doing tonight. We're going to be at the Rick House. Stick your head in the door and say, hey, if you'd like. Going to be about 45 of us. We're all, I'm sure, going to be... Actually, there's going to be more than that because we'll have some wives there as well. But we'll all be, 65 to 67 years of age, somewhere in that range. So be like a geriatric ward at the hospital. Anyway, that's why I'm pre-recording, and I wanted to do that for you, not necessarily for me. And I wanted to make a few comments about the goings on a few weeks ago. Since we ran a replay, I was unable to do that live, but man, we had some tragedies the week before we ran the replay on this program. I mean, it was a bad week in the country. For a lot of people, it's always a bad week because somebody's always being killed, and violently or by accident, or they're dying because of a disease. So much is not reported. But that week we had three in particular that came to mind. We had the Ukrainian girl, 23-year-old, on a train in Charlotte, I believe a subway maybe, and stabbed to death, and the video was horrendous. And I think that's what makes them so much more real now. But I'll tell you, the thing that bothered me most about that one was the fact that there were people on that subway with them that did not lift a finger to help the girl, either during the attack or even after the attack. It's just sad, very sad. Then we had, of course, the church shooting somewhere up Midwest, I believe, and terrible thing. Hate when children involved in particular. And then, of course, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I listened to hours and hours of Charlie Kirk's videos. Felt like I knew the man. I've never met him, never spoke with him, never sent him a dime, but I did listen to a lot of his videos, and I mean, I agreed with 99.5% of what he said. There's always something I disagree with everyone about. But he was an amazing man, actually. I even thought at one point maybe he was on the autism spectrum, because he was so brilliant. His mind worked so differently than everyone else's. It was just incredible. He was an absolute genius. And not only that, he was a man of God. He loved the Lord, and he was bold in his profession of faith everywhere he went. He was as much an apostle / prophet / evangelist as he was a politician. And we don't clearly know if the man was assassinated more for being a politician or for being a man of faith. We just don't know. It probably a little bit of both. But it hit home. I didn't feel like doing a program that Thursday, and did not. And I apologize. You have to hear a replay, but it just felt like a friend had been killed before my eyes. I made the mistake of watching a video. One of my sons had sent it to me. I didn't know what was on it, and it actually showed the moment of the impact of the bullet, and it was just, I didn't want to watch it again after that. And it just kicked me in the gut. So there you have that. But I'm here now. I'm back with you. I'm recovered. And let's see. However, Charlie Kirk made a big impact on this country, and I think his impact is just, it's like dropping a pebble in the middle of a lake, and the ripples just keep going and going and going and going. And the ripples will go until they hit the shore, and they'll spread infinitely. And I think his influence and what he's done will be the same. And I'm just thinking that in death, he actually might have a bigger impact than even while he was living, to be honest with you. There is a revival, a spiritual revival spirit that's sweeping across the country, but also a political revival, a revival of boldness in the public square, by those that profess a belief in a God that is outside of our time, outside of our dimension, that created everything by a word. And I'm glad of that. I'm glad we are recapturing the boldness that we once had to speak of our faith in the public square. And the last thing I'll say about it is one of the things that really brought it home to me, his assassination, was the fact that Charlie Kirk was the same age as my youngest son. My youngest son also has 2 children, which Charlie Kirk did. It just, I thought about, if my son had been killed like that, what would it be like? Unspeakable pain for the family. All right, now let's go to a 2-minute break. I'm not going to tell you to call, because if you do, you're wasting your time. Unless you want to call and speak to the producer and leave your name and question, I'll be glad to contact you after the fact, but I won't be live tonight. But you can always email me with a question. My email address is jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. So Jim, J-I-M, at letter J, then my last name, TAUNTON, financial, that's one word, .com. Jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. Email me with a question, and I'll promise you I'll respond just immediately. As soon as I pull it down to the inbox and take a look at it, I will be glad to do it. One thing my clients will tell you, you could talk to any of my clients and ask them, is Jim responsive? Is Jim responsive? Jim is absolutely responsive. We were just talking to a client before I went on the air, and I've been working with their attorney on a matter, and the attorney just has not been responsive at all, not only not to me, but to the client. It blows my mind how professionals are not responsive to their own clients. I could see them ignoring me, I guess. I don't pay their bills, but I don't know. I wouldn't be in business if I was as responsive to my clients as a lot of professionals, I'm going to say most, a lot of professionals that I've worked with are to their clients. But in any case, let's go to a break, and we'll be right back in a couple minutes, and I'll start my monologue again. Thank you.
Ayden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Ayden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Ayden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection of the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
All right, welcome back to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton. My producer tells me I've got about 15, 16 minutes left in the program. I went longer on my editorial than I thought I would, but anyway, I pay for the show, so yes, I pay for this 30 minutes. Believe it or not, they don't pay me. The shutdown is a nothing burger. I'm just going to tell you like it is. It makes for good news. It makes for the financial networks having something to talk about, the what ifs and this and that and the other. But the shutdown is an absolute nothing burger. Within a relatively short period of time, now the word relatively is relative. Simply means that, it could be a few days, it could be a week, it could be a few weeks. In any case, somebody's going to come to a microphone and report, hey, we're the heroes. We got this thing settled. No more shutdown. And the only people that really are affected by the shutdown are federal employees, and not all of those. There are a whole lot of federal employees that are not affected at all. As a matter of fact, ultimately, none of them are unless they're fired during this time, which Trump is threatening, if not promising to do. So most federal employees, if they keep working, they and even the ones that are not working actively, they come back to work. They're paid for the back pay that they lost. So financially, they've lost nothing because of the shutdown. So it's literally nothing burger. I sent out an email to all of my clients and look, if you're a client of mine, you talking about communication. You'll get an email off my desk every 4 to 6 weeks, and sometimes more frequently if there's something I feel like I need to touch base with clients about. Every client gets that email. Great system I have that I'm working with right now. And I just sent out an email. It's going out today. Actually, started out going out this morning. That talked about the shutdown. Wanted them to be aware of all the ramifications and historically what's taken place. And I want to share with you some information historically. What has happened with shutdowns? Well, we've had 2 in the last 12 years. 2013, we had a shutdown under Obama. 1 year after the shutdown, the stock market had gone up 19.72%. That doesn't sound like a very bad market to me. In 2018, under Trump, so you can see that both sides play this game. Democratic president, Republican Congress, or Republican president. And of course, we've got Republican Congress, but we have to have 60 votes in the Senate to pass a funding bill. And we don't have but like 53 Republicans. So, so the Democrats in Congress are the ones that are playing that game. So, but both sides have played the game. Both sides have played the game. Okay. Nobody can point a finger. But 2018, when it happened under Trump, 1 year after the shutdown, the market was up 26.2%. That doesn't sound like a bad market to me. That's why the course that we pursue during these types of circumstances is to stay the course. Stay the course of a long-term investment strategy. It's never a good idea. Well, never say never. Okay. It by far and away the majority of the time, it's never a good idea. It's not a good idea to change a long-term investment strategy because of circumstantial downturns or circumstantial events, economic or otherwise, that might cause some temporary volatility. And that's what you're going to see out of this. You had some temporary volatility, but guess what? The market's up today. Where are we at? See, because I'm doing this in the afternoon, the Dow's up 130 right now. Right now, as we speak. S&P's up 979, which is 0.15%. NASDAQ's up 91, which is 0.4%. NVIDIA is up $1.63, which is almost a full percentage point. All that happening today, the second day of the shutdown. So the market, when we say the market, that is the sum total of the millions of people that are involved with investing. I'm talking about professionals, and I'm talking about individuals. All these people together, their determination is there's absolutely nothing to this shutdown. So you can breathe easier. The investors care not about the shutdown. Let me give you some more numbers. First of all, the Fed reduced their interest rate by 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. At parties, if you use basis points, you sound a lot smarter, when you're talking to people than saying 0.25%, say 25 basis points, and they'll go, 25 basis points, what's that? So you'll sound smart anyway. But over the last 30 days, or however many trading days that encompasses, the S&P is up 3.53%. 1 month. The NASDAQ is up 5.4%. 1 month. Dow is up 1.87%. So had you put like an even amount in all those, then your portfolio would have been up about 3.5% in 1 month. How much does your bank pay you over the course of an entire year? Not much more than that. That is 1 month. So we had a positive correlation between all three of those, the S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow, but it wasn't a positive correlation of one. That means they would have gone up by the exact same amount. But it was a positive correlation. They went the same direction, but not by the same amount. GDP, last measurement was up 3.8% year over year. And there are many, now I'm not an economist, okay? And I don't know anything compared to what a lot of people do that I respect and listen to. I get their email newsletters and whatnot. And the individuals, consensus of individuals that I listen to and respect, are saying we're heading to a 5% year-over-year GDP growth next year. 5. That is definitely not a recession. And you can have that kind of growth without inflation. If you have people turning the knobs that know what they're doing, you can do that, and we need that. I've said on this program numerous times that the way we're going to get out of this debt problem in this country is growth. It won't be cutting parts of the budget. The idea is good, and I think we need to do it. We need to eliminate any waste at all, no question about it, to be as lean as we can in our government. But the real way that we're going to get out of this thing is grow our economy so that the tax base increases enough that we can service debt and have a little left over to apply to outstanding and retire outstanding bonds that come due that the Treasury has issued. That's the only way we're going to be able to do it. All right, shifting gears a little bit. Mortgage rates, 30-year fixed mortgage rates as of today are averaging around 6.43%. Now, if 30-year fixed mortgage rates drop to the fives, and when I say fives, it could be 5.96, there is going to be a huge pickup in the real estate part of our GDP, and that's the one area that has been a drag on our GDP, real estate. If we can fix real estate, Katie, bar the door. We are going to have tremendous growth in our economy, in our GDP number, if we can do that. The way to do that, of course, is to have rates go down. And it starts with the Fed, but the Fed is short end, and of course 30-year mortgage rates are the long end, and you won't see a direct correlation, but usually it does trickle up from the short end to the high end. And when we get mortgage rates down in the fives, we're going to see houses being bought and sold, and we're going to see houses constructed. And it's going to be a boon for the economy. Every other part of the economy pretty much is, not every part, but most of the economy is doing quite well as we speak. So that's a good thing. But if you're looking at building a house, or you really want to move out of your current house into another one, but you've been waiting because of interest rates, just try this idea. And I would want to sit down with a client and crunch numbers before a decision is made. And so don't you make a decision based on what you hear me telling you on the radio or on my YouTube channel. But think about going with like a 3-year adjustable rate mortgage. And then in a year or 2 or 2.5, when rates have come down to where you think they need to be, then you can refinance and go with a 30-year fixed. Now, that is not an ideal situation because you will pay some closing costs when you refinance, but it is a way to go ahead and get into your new home and enjoy it and not lock yourself into a higher mortgage payment for the full 30 years. So 3-year adjustable rate mortgage, refinance when rates you think have kind of bottomed out, and you're ready to roll. All right. How much time do we have? Text it to me if you will, Phil. You can talk to me in my ear for that matter. 2 minutes? Okay. So we're pretty much done. And I'm done. I'm done with the information I had for you. But let me give you my contact information. You can write it down. If you need someone to counsel with, you just want to sit down and talk, initially, that's fine too. I won't charge you a dime, and there's no obligation to sit down with me first time. And my number at the office is 252-756-4700. 756-4700. Email jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. My website is jtauntonfinancial.com. And on that website, again, you can find out everything you need to know about Jim and more. And also there's an inquiry page. You can complete a little information. It'll come to me by email, and I'll respond. You don't have to go on air with your questions either. You can email those to me if you'd like. I'll be glad to answer those questions. I'll send you a response by email directly, and then I may talk about that question on the air of the next program. But feel free to contact me by email as well. And I'm pre-recording the program. As you can see on the YouTube channel, I'm actually in my office as we speak. The market is still open. It is right now 2:38 in the afternoon. I'm hearing music, so I'm out of time. But as always, this is Jim Taunton helping you make all of your financial decisions good ones. Good night, everybody.
Incorporated. Member NASD, SIPC. Now, here's your host of Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor,